Long ago, in the powerful kingdom of Babylon, lived a man named Daniel. His life was full of challenges, but through it all, he remained faithful to God. Daniel was not Babylonian. He was an Israelite, taken from his homeland when King Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem. Along with other young men, he was chosen to serve in the king's palace. They were given new clothes, new names, and a new way of life. But there was one thing Daniel refused to change: his faith in God. One of Daniel's first tests came at the dinner table. The king's food was luxurious, but it had been offered to idols. Daniel and his friends could not eat it in good conscience. Instead, they asked to eat only vegetables and drink water for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and stronger than all the others. Because of their wisdom and discipline, they were given high positions in the kingdom. One night, the king had a strange and terrifying dream. He demanded that his wise men tell him not only what the dream meant, but what he had dreamed in the first place. When no one could do it, he ordered them all to be executed. But Daniel prayed to God, and the answer was revealed to him. He stood before the king and explained the dream: a great statue made of gold, silver, bronze, and iron, shattered by a mighty stone. It was a message from God. Earthly kingdoms will rise and fall, but God's kingdom will last forever. Amazed, the king placed Daniel in an even higher position of power. Years passed, and Babylon had a new ruler, King Belshazzar. One night, during a grand banquet, he made a terrible mistake. He took sacred cups from God's temple and used them to drink and praise false gods. Suddenly, a mysterious hand appeared and began writing on the palace wall. The king's face turned pale with fear. No one could understand the message, except Daniel. The words on the wall said, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Parsin. It was a warning. God had judged the king, and his kingdom would fall. That very night, the prophecy came true. Belshazzar was killed, and Babylon was conquered by the Persians. Under King Darius, Daniel continued to rise in power. But his success made others jealous. They plotted against him, tricking the king into signing a law. For 30 days, no one could pray to any god except the king. Daniel knew about the law, but he continued to pray to God, just as he always had. His enemies caught him and reported him to the king. Darius was heartbroken. He respected Daniel, but he couldn't change the law. With no other choice, he ordered Daniel to be thrown into a den of hungry lions. As Daniel was lowered into the pit, the king spoke with sadness, "May your God rescue you." That night, the king could not sleep. At the first light of dawn, he ran to the lion's den and called out, "Daniel, has your God saved you?" From inside the den, a voice answered. Daniel was alive. God had sent an angel to shut the mouths of the lions. They had not harmed him. Overjoyed, the king ordered Daniel to be lifted out. And those who had plotted against him? They were thrown into the lion's den themselves. From that day forward, King Darius made a new decree. Daniel's God is the living God, and his kingdom will never end. Daniel's life was filled with challenges, temptations, threats, even death. But through every trial, he remained faithful to God. And in return, God gave him wisdom, protection, and favor. His story reminds us that no matter how difficult things may seem, standing firm in faith brings strength, peace, and even miracles.